Hello everyone, this is Tyler or Mr. Hernandez, and I'm going to be showing you a brief video on how to set up and use OBS Studio for screencasting. OBS Studio is a free screencasting software, very similar to Screencast-O-Matic. However, I prefer this over Screencast-O-Matic for a couple reasons. First, I find this to be slightly more powerful. It's got more features, more customizability, and second, it's completely free for an unlimited license, whereas for Screencast-O-Matic, if you'd like to be able to record long videos, you need to purchase the software. So for those reasons, I do prefer OBS Studio over Screencast-O-Matic. Now, unfortunately, OBS is a bit more difficult to use, so I'm making this short video to show you how to get it set up so that you can start making really basic videos really quickly. So let's get into it. Now, when you download and install OBS Studio, you're going to run it and nothing's going to show. It's just going to be a black screen here, and you're actually going to get this auto configuration wizard pop up. I can't select this right now because it's already run for me. I had to do some initial setup just so I can make this video. So for you guys, you don't even have what I have showing. It's just going to be completely black, and this auto configuration wizard pops up, and it's got two questions it's going to ask you. It's going to ask you if you're primarily using OBS for streaming or recording. Now, streaming is a live video platform where you show your videos live on somewhere like YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Most of us won't be doing that. If you are doing that, you're probably more advanced than me, and I can't really help you. So go ahead and select the record option. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be recording my videos, uploading them to YouTube, and sharing them with my students. The second question it's going to ask you is the quality of videos. And I selected the 30 FPS, 60 FPS when possible. So the 30 to 60 FPS range is what you want to be using. So go ahead and select those two options, hit OK, and it's going to kind of initialize some settings for you. And your screen is still going to be black. That's because we haven't added any sources. So I'm going to show you how to add sources right now. I've already done this so I can make this video, but you're going to need to do this on first run. Now, if we go down to this box right here that says sources, for you this is going to be empty. Now, in order to start making videos, we have to add the sources we want to use. So we need an audio input and a video input source, and I'm going to show you how to make those. So we hit this plus sign right here, and some options as far as what sort of source pop up that you want to select. And we're going to select the audio input capture. That's how we're going to get the videos to capture our audio. And mine defaulted to the name audio input capture. I find that to be completely sufficient, so I just hit OK here. And what you're going to want to do here for the device is select the device you plan to use to record your audio. For me, I have an external microphone, a Blue Snowball. I highly recommend it. So go ahead and select the Blue Snowball or whatever microphone you're using. You could be using your webcam microphone or maybe the headset microphone that you're using. So go ahead and select that microphone and hit OK. So now I've got two audio inputs, and because I've got two, you probably have a nasty echo going on. So I'm going to go ahead and mute one of them so you can't hear it. And let's go ahead and add a second or another display capture as well. So you're going to be able to record audio now, but you still won't have video. So in order to capture video, we're going to hit this plus and go to display capture if you plan to capture what's showing up on your screen. You may choose to do video capture device instead if you have some sort of webcam that you'd like to record. But I'm going to go ahead and use display capture. So you hit display capture, hit OK, and then it's going to default to a full screen capture at whatever resolution your display is set at. And I find this to be completely sufficient. Now, you do want to make sure that this capture cursor button is enabled. If this were not enabled and we tried to make a video, it would actually not record where my cursor was. So you do want to make sure this is enabled. I think my cursor was showing because of another program I have running. But you want to just make sure that this box is checked right here so your students can see where your mouse is. Go ahead and hit OK, and you will be able to go ahead and see your screen here now. You know, you've got like this Inception a window inside a window inside a window thing going on, and you can now capture audio. So if you wanted to, you could start recording. I'm going to delete these two that we just made because they're redundant to me. So yes, delete, yes, delete. And if you want to start making a video, you will go over here to the controls and you will just hit start recording right here. It shows as stop recording for me because I'm currently recording. So if I were to stop recording, this would say start recording. But right now I am recording. So this is the button that you would use to start and stop your recording. Now we are basically set up. You can use this as is to create your screencasts. You can select whatever content it is you wanted to go over with your students. You can talk about, for example, the collision of some carts, and talk about conservation of momentum and conservation of energy with some sort of animation or whatever it is you wanted to do. And the screen will capture your voice and it will capture what you're showing on your screen, and you will be able to make some sort of a lesson for them. Now, I do recommend a couple additional things to improve the quality. The audio of this video is probably terrible right now, and that's because we haven't added any filters. So I'm going to add a few filters to improve the audio quality. In order to do that, I'm going to go to the audio mixer. The input that I'm using, I'm going to select the little gear, and I'm going to go to filters. Now, when this pops up, it's going to be a completely blank window, and that's totally fine. Nothing is wrong. We need to add the filters we wish to use. So click the plus sign here, and again, it gives you options of different filters you can select. I recommend you enable the gain, so hit OK. I also recommend the noise gate, and hit OK, and the noise suppression, and hit OK. Now, gain will be able to raise or lower your audio levels, amplify your sound. I wouldn't adjust this too much, but you might find you need to raise or lower your gain. Play with your volume levels until you get to a good level for you. More important is the noise gate and noise suppression. If you're recording these at school or at home, there could be background noise going on that could be disrupting or distracting to your lesson. So if you've got a noise gate, any sounds below a certain threshold will not be recorded. So if I were to stop talking and the background noise were below 32 dBs, it would not record anything. So I like using the noise gate to help deal with background sounds. Now, when you are talking, it will still record background sounds while you're talking. So that's why I have the noise suppression, and anything that's quiet below a certain level, it's going to reduce the sound of those things. So while you're talking, things like your computer's cooling fan or the air conditioner or background noise of people talking or walking will be sufficiently muted so that they're not distracting. So I find that the default levels for these are sufficient. Minus 30 dBs for the noise suppression is the default, and the noise gate at minus 32 dBs. The open threshold would be when it starts recording. So as long as when you talk, you're talking at higher than minus 26 dBs, it's going to record. So go ahead and hit close, and you can see here, it's showing how loud I am when I'm talking. So I am currently talking in the minus 20 to minus 15, even up to minus 10 dB level. So for me, I have a pretty good setting on that. And then if I stop talking, you see that there's almost no background noise at all. So I probably don't even need the noise gate running. But if my baby were crying or if my heater were on, you definitely notice a difference having those filters enabled. So those are the audio filters that I recommend you enable. I also think it might be helpful for you to be able to change what part of your screen your students can see. Now, by default, it shows them the full screen, so they can see, any programs I've got. You can figure out what kind of video games I play, or you can see the personal folders that I have on my screen. And maybe I don't want my students to see that. Maybe that's private information and I don't want them to see it. So you can actually change how much of this screen that they see. If you click on the video and move it, all it does is drag it around. But if you click on these squares in the sides, you can change the scale of the video. And if you hold Alt and then drag it, you can actually crop how much of your screen your students see. So if you only want them to see a section down here in the side, you can put your content for them to view over here, and you can have other stuff off to the side on the left, such as maybe you're Mr. Zaretta and you're doing your dockage or whatnot. So maybe you've got that on the side or the gradebook open, and it's not showing because it's off screen of the area we've selected. So you may choose to do that. Personally, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave this full screen because I like it better that way. But you can definitely crop this so that they can only see certain areas of your screen. So that's the basics of OBS Studio. With following those steps, you should be able to start adding a display capture and an audio input capture, add some filters, tinker with your screen, and then start recording videos. Once you've recorded and stopped recording a video, if you go to File, Show Recordings, it's going to default save your videos to the This PC Videos folder on your computer. And I'm showing my previous attempts at recording this video. So here you can go and select your videos, and then you can either open them with an editor like Movie Maker, or you can just directly upload them to YouTube, which is what I plan to do. Unfortunately, OBS does not give you the full video editing capabilities of some other programs. You may need to, if you want to do that, open this in something like Movie Maker or Camtasia, or I have no idea what you plan to use. But for me, I find this to be sufficient to make a passable video that my students can learn from, and it's a good way to deliver content to them in a easy and reliable medium. Now, you may have noticed on my screen that I've got this blue circle following my mouse. If you're anything like me, you sometimes lose your mouse on the screen and you have to move it around to find it. And I guarantee your students are going to lose track of your mouse pointer as well. So I'm actually using a software called Pointer Focus to highlight where my mouse is, and it even shows keystrokes. I highly recommend this software. I tried a variety of mouse highlighting softwares. This was the best one. There is a trial version that gives you full functionality. However, there would be a pop-up every 5 minutes in the corner that says to enable the full version or to register or whatever it says. So I went ahead and purchased the full version. It's $12. That way I'm not getting this annoying pop-up whenever I'm doing my screencasts. And Pointer Focus is a very powerful mouse highlighter. It gives you lots of options. When you start it and run it, you'll get this little toolbar here that gives you lots of options. We can change the color of the ring around our mouse if we want to. We can change the size of it, and we can make it massive if we want to. We can make the circle, massive as well, so it's super obnoxious. We can change the opacity so you can't see through it, or so you can barely see it. I find somewhere in the middle, I really like the blue, and I like the size right around 50 with a circle width of about 15. I find that to be a pretty good size. For me, you may like something else, but I also like that it shows when you click, you see a red circle for my left click and a blue circle for my right click, so it kind of lets your students know what you're doing. And if you go to show keystrokes, you can enable it such that your keystrokes show on the screen when you type something. So for example, if I wanted to type space, I push the space bar and it says space on the bottom, and I can type, Tyler if I wanted to, and it's going to show my students what buttons I pressed. So if I'm using some sort of shortcut, maybe in an AutoCAD or a video editing software, it's going to show them exactly how I did that, and they're not going to be left wondering how I did that. So I recommend you use those features, and it will even show a combination of key presses. So if I hold Control and hit S, for example, it will show Control plus S. So it really helps convey to your students what you're doing while you're doing it. It kind of gives you the best odds of them being engaged and understanding what's going on and following along with you. So between OBS Studio and Pointer Focus, this is how I plan to do my screencasts of my lessons outside of my Zoom sessions, and then I plan to use Zoom for my live sessions with my students. So hopefully you find this helpful. It can help get you started and right away making videos and screencasts for your lessons. So If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me with questions. I'd be more than happy to help anybody set up or figure out any issues they might be having. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys when the coronavirus blows over.